Welcome to the Loyal Opposition Podcast. Let's talk about something that should have every American citizen on edge: the U.S. national debt. As of today, we're looking at a staggering $36 trillion in debt. If you're an American taxpayer, your share is $323,000, thereabouts. I'm sure that you got that laying around in petty cash somewhere around your closet, right? Here's the kicker. This debt isn't just a number. It has consequences, huge, life-altering consequences. And the question is, how do we get here? It's kind of funny. Bill Clinton and presidents even before him have talked about cutting the size of the federal government, but they did nothing about it. Actually, they steadily increased the size of the government. Well, if you don't believe me, check out this video.
This report tells us how to cut waste, cut red tape, streamline the bureaucracy, change procurement rules, change the personnel rules, and create a government that works better and costs less.
I've read it, and where it says the president should, the president will.
Among the 800 recommendations, eliminating 12% of the federal workforce, merging some government agencies like the FBI, the DEA, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, closing hundreds of government offices outside Washington.
From the day I took office, one of the commitments that I made to the American people was that we would do a better job here in Washington in rooting out wasteful spending. We thought that it was entirely appropriate for our governments and our agencies to try to root out waste, large and small, in a systematic way. It means cutting some programs that I think are worthy, but we may not be able to afford right now. A lot of the action is in Congress and legislative, but in the meantime, we don't need to wait for Congress in order to do something about wasteful spending that's out there. We haven't seen as much action out of Congress as we'd like, and that's why we launched on our own initiative the campaign to cut waste. And we're going to keep on finding every possible way that we can do that, even if Congress is not acting. There you go.
This level of spending is absolutely unsustainable. Our children's future is at stake, and I'm not exaggerating. You might not like Trump's methods, but I don't know of any other way to make this stop, to make the ship right.
And we know Social Security goes bankrupt in 8 years, right? Medicare goes bankrupt in 10 years. And then 15 years from now, the dollar is completely devalued and worth nothing. So what does that mean? That means your pension, the money in your bank, your savings is nothing. It's worthless. So what are we doing? We're trying to save this country. We're trying to save your pensions. We're trying to save your bank accounts. We're trying to save this country for the next generation, and it would be nice if we had help.
Back in the 90s, as I said before, Bill Clinton separated over 300,000 federal civilians from the government. Where was the outrage then? Did you know that DOJ discovered that USAID secretly funneled $4 billion to Bill Gates, plus another $880 million to the World Health Organization? That's a lot of money. That's a whole lot of money. Did you know that George Soros received $230 million of your taxpayers' dollars, and they funded left-wing district attorneys intended to push the political agenda? People like Alvin Bragg, Letitia James, Fannie Willis, and Maryland's own Marilyn Mosby. Yeah, they took all your money. All these things that they were doing was funded by taxpayer dollars. And don't even get me started on the fact that your money's also supporting left-wing outlets like the New York Times and MSNBC and Politico. Politico got a whole pile of money in subscription fees alone, well over $1 million. Your government was using your money to influence your opinions. In the military, we call that psychological operations. And here's the real question. How are we supposed to pay this $36 trillion off? How are we supposed to deal with this? We're not going to be able to deal with it unless we change our spending habits. It's a debt that's been accumulating for decades, and all these federal layoffs are a result of this wasteful spending over the years. All these failed promises from politicians and administrations. Unless we start making some serious cuts, our kids, our grandkids, and our great grandkids are going to suffer. And lastly, how does that figure into the price of eggs? Think about it. Well, that's about it for now. I'm Bernie Flowers, one of Uncle Sam's wayward sons. I'm here to help you sort through the chaos and keep it real for America. This has been the Loyal Opposition Podcast, produced in association with Fallback Productions and other podcasters. I ask that you like, share, and subscribe so we can keep exposing hypocrisy and stand up for what's right. It's okay to disagree, just remember. But if we want our country to prosper, we must insist on unity, transparency, and civility from ourselves and our fellow citizens. I'd like to hear from you, so if you get a chance, leave me a like, leave me a comment. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Until next time, let's stay vigilant, stay informed, and stay free.